2K has delivered the WWE games just annually, right? Year after year after year, up until 2K20 when they took a break, and we've had this little bit of a gap for them to reset and hopefully give us something worth our while. But today on the show, let's talk about what if. What if WWE 2K22 was the last game that we got for a couple of years? Stick with me. With the fallout of WWE 2K22, it really felt like it was just the top tier just of trash. They had reached a point with the series where it didn't feel like they could do much else, iterating off of the existing engine, what they had, the breakup with Ukes, all of that obviously detrimented the game. Now, obviously what hurts the game as well, much like a lot of sports franchises out there, is the constant push of the game coming out annually. We see this with the likes of Madden, where the next iteration of Madden comes out and it's kind of meh, in my opinion. We don't get a lot of new features. They do minor tweaks to the UI. They'll change a few elements of gameplay. They might add in a little feature here and there, and graphically, it's a marginal update at this point. Very much with the WWE 2K series, it feels like we've hit a almost plateau when it comes to what the games can do graphically and perform. And frankly, they hit the certain level where we as fans play these games not so much for the graphics and the resolution that we're getting out of it. It's really boiling down to the gameplay mechanic, that loop, what hooks you into a game like that, like we saw in previous years with other games like SmackDown vs. Raw, and going back to the days of No Mercy and WrestleMania 2000. These games had amazing, fantastic gameplay. They had great modes with GM mode, and we do get great elements with the 2K series, having amazing custom creation suites available to us. But it gets to a point now where it feels like, well, we have all of these modes, we have all of these matches available to us. We can play this game kind of any which way we want, and assume that we're gonna get some great new mode like a GM mode or an updated universe mode or some combination of it for this year's title. So what if this was the last game that 2K put out for WWE for like 3 years? To me, I'm arguing that it's necessary. It's necessary because the franchise has kind of reached its peak and there's not much left to do with it. And like I said, if we get great modes like a GM mode, why do we need to then pump out another game, another version of the title for 2K23? And I want to put the financial aspects of this kind of on the back burner and push it aside for 1 second, because you guys are totally right. There is the absolute argument, obviously, that this is a games company and 2K wants to make money, and if they annualize the franchise, they're going to make money off of it. So yeah, we want to pump this thing out every single year. I get that, but we have actually seen that bite them back in the ass when they released 2K20 and saw how broken it was. They lost trust with fans, they produced a bad product, it made 2K look bad, it made WWE look bad. But with 2K22, it now feels like they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to make this game living, breathing ecosystem of wrestling for wrestling fans, and they could kind of make this a game that could last for a couple of years. 2K is already making a ton of money on the sports side with NBA and posting out the brand new NBA 2K games every single year. They will make and continue to make huge amounts of money. But for wrestling, it's a little bit different, isn't it? If they made this the last game of its franchise for a couple of years, they could try out a different creative model that could actually work for it and work for fans. If you take it much more of a games as a service, as a live service game, you could still get out of the gate and charge folks the full price for the game, give them everything they get for day one. But for future content, sure, we can have a deluxe edition and everything where you're gonna get the bonus star and you're gonna get a couple of points and accelerators and a few other add-ons here and there. But why not turn it then and allow fans to give them either free content down the road or paid DLC like we've seen in the past, but let that go on for 1, 2, 3 years. With how great consoles are nowadays, and because of the online infrastructure is stable, we can push out really substantial updates. We don't always like this because it just destroys our hard drives, but you can take a game like 2K22, we could actually go in there and get monthly updates, quarterly updates from 2K, where they update things like their universe/GM mode, whatever. They add in new components to it. They put in big substantial patches to the game to make these fixes to get rid of bugs. They could actually release future content like updated arenas, retro arena packages, stuff from the 80s and 90s in terms of the arenas. Give us the old Raw sets, the WrestleMania packs. If you look at something like Fortnite, for example, they release all of the seasons and the battle passes. And I'm not saying that 2K should go and release a battle pass, but if you take cues from what is successful over there, as an example, you could release seasons for WWE 2K, and each season can focus on something else. If you're 2K, it's not necessarily good for the fans here, what I'm talking about in terms of monetization and charging fans for that, but fans don't have to buy it. If you can still get the full core game, full retail price, you get the roster, you get it all as normal, that's enough for a vast majority of the audience. But hardcore fans, hardcore players that want to play this game and keep playing and giving into it, it gives us the option to actually build up even more. And if you release something like Seasons, what you could do is have things like arena packs, attires. You can have it coincide with different events. We have SummerSlam coming up this week with potentially a 2K22 reveal. Maybe. Don't know for sure. We're hoping. But what if you released some amazing SummerSlam retro arenas in a season pack, building up to the event? Some classic outfits from SummerSlam that stars wore, like John Cena, Brock Lesnar. You could get Shawn Michaels, Triple H. And yes, we have custom creation suites in there, but if 2K doesn't go so hardcore in the custom creation suites for superstars, and they dial it back and they simplify it a bit more, they can reallocate those resources and actually produce some really cool certified WWE 2K22 branded, WWE branded arenas, attires, and superstars along the way. This gives fans even more to work with and to play with, and stuff to look forward to every couple of months. So what if they stopped? What if they actually took a break? What else would it mean? Well, it would probably mean that on the development cycle, this would be a lot easier for the teams that actually work on this game every single year. The development cycle and the turnaround is within a matter of months. They got to be looking at the next year's game and making those improvements, or they have to hold off of maybe some ideas and being creative and wanting to put certain elements in the current game, but they have to hold off because it's going to take longer to create. It's going to be longer to develop, and so they have to push it out to the next year's game, thus making the current iteration kind of bland. And we see that when games like 2K15 come out and they feel like they're hollow and they don't have a lot of modes and everything is stripped out of it and they begin almost a rebuild. But what if you could take a platform and just change things up and make it WWE 2K games and build upon it over the course of several years? If you do all of this, then you could also give developers more time to breathe, less pressure and stress on them to produce a full game every single year, and rather focus on smaller projects like arenas and tires and superstars. When new stars get signed, then we can actually add them into the following year and get them released, potentially even sooner if they're not working on a whole new game. And for fantasy booking, really cool thing would be if then you could actually put out in seasons and these packs more showcases, and you can make them a little bit tighter and smaller. You can do a Rock showcase mode with his 25th anniversary Survivor Series coming up. You would be able to do those things. Go and pull on the heartstrings and the history, the vast history of WWE by creating these 2-3 hour mini showcases focusing on stars like we've seen in the past with previous showcases. You want to be able to do a John Cena, a Roman Reigns showcase, do a Becky Lynch showcase with her whole rise as the man. You can do a lot of really cool stuff if they give themselves enough time. But today it was just really about that. What if? What if they did do that? And I'm speaking about all the positive things that we as fans could get, but I'm also trying to look at it and say this would help the developers, and ultimately it is a business and they are going to want to make as much money as possible, which I'm very aware of. So do I think that's possible at all? What if WWE and 2K, they took a break for a few years to actually put out a banger of a product, give us something worthwhile that we can bank off of and look forward to a giant new next game in 2 to 3 years time? I think it'd be pretty cool. Do I think that that's something that they would actually want to do? Well, probably not, just based off the history and how 2K has run this over the years. But working off a very old engine, gameplay elements we have seen year after year after year, it does feel that the title does need and the franchise needs a complete refresh, reboot to sustain itself and look at new ways to sustain itself in the gaming space that we have today. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What if WWE 2K22 was the last game? What do you all think? Do you think that that's something that you would look forward to? But I wanted to have some fun today and talk on the show about a little bit of just kind of speculation and what we would enjoy from that type of game. And do you think we would ever get there? Let me know. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you on the next episode.